Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Developer Chat here today, February 5th, 2020. Feels like it's been a while.
For you, it has.
Because last week I was dead from LVO. And
almost everyone was dead from LVO last week. That's why we didn't. We were going to talk LVO last week with Jordan or Jeff or you, and none of that happened.
Man, the super plague got into us. And the week before that was obviously we were at LVO, I believe. So
I was on Dev Chat that week.
Oh yeah, you're doing Mom Pod. Well, we're back now, and we're going to be doing a War Machine and Hordes focused Dev Chat today. If you've never joined us on any of our streams, let me tell you when we stream real fast. So every Wednesday we do the Dev Chat with myself and Oz. We usually have a War Machine focused one, a Riot Quest focused one, a Monster Apocalypse focused one, and then sort of like a potpourri each month.
Yeah.
That's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific on this channel. You can catch us on Facebook or Twitch. Thursdays is Get Your Paint On with Jordan Lamb, also at 10 a.m. Pacific, where Jordan paints miniatures and answers your questions about painting. Also reviews people's painted miniatures they've posted on Instagram and sort of like gives props out. Then there's two semi-regular shows, Staff Showdown, where we play the games we make live. Next one is February 11th. We'll have more details on that one soon. And then Hobby Hangout, where some combination of Danny Samuels and Brian McLaughlin do like conversions and cleaning tips and the non-painting hobby side of miniatures.
And that was going to be on this Friday.
Yeah, that one's going to be on this Friday, February 7th.
And I believe they have a special guest that's coming on for the very first time.
Who that?
Caitlin, one of our engineers.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
People
have probably met Caitlin at Lock and Load stuff, but I don't think he's ever been on a stream before.
Yeah.
So.
For those of you watching us right now or watching the streams, if you're watching on Twitch, just heads up, we do take subscriptions. So if you are someone who likes us, we like you too. And one way to show your love to us is to subscribe on Twitch. Yeah. You'll unlock all kinds of cool emojis and emotes. And the more subscribers we get, the more emojis we unlock. The next one is the Riot Quest loot coin at 120 subs.
Remember, Amazon Prime Twitch subscriptions are free.
Yeah.
You get one a month.
I want to talk about some mini crate stuff real quick before we get into things. First off, if you are checking out the main mini crate line right now it's Medusionia. Medusonia? Not Medusionia. That's too many letters.
Yeah.
It is a replacement for Absolonia 1.
Yep.
And she's still available till February 19th. If you go to mini-crate.com, you can sign up and get her. If you decide to do a 6-month VIP subscription, you'll also get a bonus Trancer Dancer models in your next shipment. Those are still available till February 19th as well, and then they'll swap over to something different. We showed off on the Insider yesterday a sneak peek at an upcoming mini crate model, Admiral Carver.
Yeah.
That concept art is available. You can see it on the website right now if you go check out the most recent Insider, which his concept is based completely off the skyship narrative we ran at Lock and Load when somebody had their Carver go take control of one of the skyships and then drive it into the ground.
Yeah, like you would.
Like you would. Over on the Legend of the Five Rings, Doji Rin, today is the last day to pick up Doji Rin. If you don't subscribe by today, Doji Rin will no longer be available. So if you're interested in picking up this very sweet model, I recommend you go to mini-crate.com/L5R, sign up for a Doji Rin, because after this, it's gone forever.
But you have a couple of months on Tengu Sensei still.
Tengu Sensei is still available till May 5th, and that is if you do a 6-month sub, Tengu Sensei will show up in your next shipment. Over on the Savage Mini Crate, which is swapped over recently, we have Conan the Barbarian. This is not his on-throne version. This is not King Conan.
Much younger Conan.
Much younger Conan. Available till February 12th, so you got a few days left. And then the VIP model for quite some time, till the summer at least, is going to be one of the... A character as popular as Conan, Red Sonja, is if you do a 6-month sub to the Savage Mini Crate, you will grab her. So, let's talk about what we're talking about today.
Let's talk about it for a while and not talk about it.
No, let's not do that to people.
Let's talk around what we're talking about.
No, let's not do that to people.
You don't want to do that?
No,
okay, cool.
I don't like to anger people for no reason. Cool. Today's going to be a War Machine and Hordes focused one. We're going to talk a little bit about the LVO and what went on there. And then today what we wanted to do is, in the past we've shown people in testing previews of rules. Like we showed people Helga 2, we showed people Ashlynn 2.
Yeah.
And we want to do kind of the first time we've ever done an update. So for those two models in particular, we want to show everyone the updated rules and where they've come since you originally first saw them and where they are in their current in-house testing as we're getting much closer to their release. And the versions you're going to see today, we can kind of talk about what changed, why it changed, and how close it is to the final version. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Convergence CID and show you a sneak peek of a change that happened post-CID that is in its final stages of testing, because that CID is going to be, the dynamic update for it is happening real soon. So
very soon.
We'll get into all that. So first off, let's talk about LVO. You weren't there.
I was not there. I sound like I'm sick.
Yeah.
But it's just allergies.
Well,
you are still a little bit diseased.
Oh yeah, no, my left ear is actually completely stopped up. So if my personal volume is off, it's because I actually have like weird equilibrium problems right now, and it's not super comfortable. But LVO was a fantastic show as always.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tyson and Will number 5, as I like to call him, for running all the fantastic events. There was a Who's the Boss, there was a Champions that led into the Masters Finals. There was a ton of stuff going on the entire weekend. And additionally, we were vending stuff.
Yeah.
We were selling it. And we were running Riot Quest demos the whole time. And we ran a ton of Riot Quest demos. Tony just actually brought up a photo. There's Jordan giving a Riot Quest demo to Jaden from Line of Sight podcast.
Yeah.
And we were running these demos basically the entire time the store was open. And I want to say, we counted, it was somewhere around like 90% of the people that demoed the game went and bought the starter deals.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Everyone who played it had a blast and then went and like bought into Riot Quest, or they already owned Riot Quest but hadn't played it yet.
Yeah.
And came to get a demo to learn how to play. So that was really cool. That was really fun to see. But talking about the events, obviously there was a big Masters final. It was an Iron Gauntlet qualifier that happened at LVO like it does every year. They did 2 heats. So there was a Champions that occurred, and then there was 2 Masters heats. The Masters heats were, I think they took the top 8 of each. So I'm sorry, the Champions didn't feed into the Masters finals. It was just those 2 heats. I want to say it was like 67 players in the first heat, and then 55 in the second heat, and the second heat happened concurrently with the first heat.
Yeah.
It started about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours after the first heat. So a lot of it was new faces, and then some of it were people that lost their first game in the first heat and just said, well, I'm going to go try and go. I don't remember if Champions led it or not. It might, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But congratulations to David. Here actually we'll pull up the finals game there between David and Brett Fogel. Brett playing his Grimkin.
Yeah.
David playing Protectorate. That was the final game where Brett went in for an assassination run, didn't quite work out, and then that was game. David, I believe, also went all the way with his Infernals in Champions. Yeah. And then switched over to Protectorate in Masters for the heat to make the cut, and then all the way to the finals to win. So he showed an amazing diversity of skill.
Yeah, that's some different play styles between those 2.
And there we see Tyson, who, again, thanks to Tyson for not only running the fantastic events there, but also creating the amazing terrain tables you see at LVO with all the moving parts and like the plasma ball in the middle of the
lights and things.
He makes these really interactive tables that look fantastic, and David holding the giant LVO trophy there that he won for running Masters. So one thing we want to do is, I don't know that anyone has seen or been able to reliably find the lists of the top 3 players in the Masters finals.
Yeah.
I don't know if those got posted on Discount Games yet, which they normally do, or any other websites, and if people haven't gone to Conflict Chamber to find them. So for people asking, just because I saw some chatter about it online, we wanted to show the top 3 lists.
Yeah.
So first off was Alec in 3rd place. He finished 3rd overall, playing Infernals, running double Dark Legacy. I don't know which list he ended up playing primarily, so I can't say what his split was on Zadaroth and Agathon. But for those of you that didn't get a chance to see, and there was a lot of Infernals at LVO. Like a ton of players brought their Infernals, but it wasn't Infernals that ended up taking out the win. Travis in Twitch chat is saying that he played Agathon most of the time. Our own Travis, by the way, our own Dark Legacy himself, did play and was in the top 16. He was in the final day. I believe his final record was like 3-1. He made it almost all the way. Did really, really well, and he, of course, was playing Infernals, because why else wouldn't Travis be playing Infernals? In 2nd place was Brett, as we saw on the top table. Brett showed up with his Grimkin. Brett trying to prove me wrong that the Clockatrice nerfs were not enough. I'm joking.
It's only 4 though.
I'm joking. They were fine, and this is not going to make any more changes happen to the Clockatrices. But I believe in his final match, And I think in most of his matches, he was playing Dreamer most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't remember walking by and seeing him running Heretic. But Brett's been on the tournament scene for a long time, and he's repped everything from Minions to Circle, and now he's on Grimkin. He's also part of the Line of Sight podcast.
Yeah.
Top end player, really great player, and so he decided to bring Grimkin, and he almost got there, but in the end, Mr. David bringing his Protectorate, and it's almost like the two things that got the toning recently, Clockatrices and Harbinger, were in the top two. Again, it's fine. It's not like they're going to get another one anytime soon. But as I mentioned, he brought Infernals to Champions, but over in the Masters, I know that David played his Harbinger list exclusively.
Yeah.
He never switched over to the Serenia list. He only played. So, again, those lists pretty similar, but
yeah, there's not a lot of differences between those two lists.
Again, he's running double Faithful Masses.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, can you go back to Brett's list real fast, Tony? Do we have so Brett was the only one running both theme forces.
Yeah.
Running Bump and Dark Menagerie, because Alec was running double Dark Legacy,
Yeah.
and moving back forward to David, he was running double Faithful Masses. So. We have confirmation from someone in Twitch chat that they did play Brett's Heretic in the Masters. So he did run Heretic a few times. But I know that, like I said, David ran mono Harbinger the entire time. So for those of you that were trying to catch those lists,
there you go.
There you are. You can go back and watch the video, screenshot them. Hope you learned something useful there. We didn't see any weird dark horses rise to the top. Nobody won with like Sturgis 2.
Someone's gonna one day.
Or Barnabas 1. Like one of the big rising boogeymen right now that we are definitely keeping an eye on is the Kara Sloan Hearts of Darkness list.
Sure.
Typically Kara Sloan start with 4 hunters. 4 hunters, 2 Minutemen-ish, seasoned to taste. Go from there. There's a lot of talk about that list. It's very powerful. It can take you off the board very quickly. And if you don't know what it does and you haven't played into it a lot, you don't have a lot of practice reps against it.
Yeah.
You could just lose like top of 2, like just suddenly your caster's dead.
Yeah.
But the people that have been playing against it and have been practicing against it are finding counterplay into it and are beating it. But it's one that we're keeping a close eye on. So, and I think Angry Mohawk in Twitch chat says right now it's win big or lose big.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of lists. It's very skewy. JP Great One asked, what are we looking to change? Honestly, if we changed anything in that list that we're keeping it on right now, it would be Kara Sloan. There's been so many changes we've had to make to Signar things since Mark III started.
Yeah.
And they're all because of Kara Sloan.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we would want to go mess with Hunters or Minutemen or anything else like that anymore. We'd have to look at what she's doing. But at the same time, and I said this recently online, we did the 2020 roadmap.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, does that mean there'll be no other dynamic updates? And I'm like, there'll be other dynamic updates that are not part of this.
Yeah.
But because those require internal testing time and resources, it's hard to say when they'll happen. And it's a very busy year, as the 2020 roadmap showed.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to guarantee any timelines until something becomes closer to reality. But I will say that the ones we're looking at to do in the next non-CID dynamic updates, this is like the Trollblade Krill Company one that happened, is Signar and Legion focused. And those would be primarily to bring some things up, not looking to bring some things down. I know I just mentioned that Kara Sloan is on our radar because of that Hearts of Darkness list, but looking to give a lot more buffs to Signar than we are looking to bring anything down. So we'll see when that happens again. I hope soon. I hope this year. I hope before lock and load. I have a lot of hopes. It's good to want things.
Yeah.
But we've got Warcaster coming out. We have a ton of Riot Quest coming out. We've got the new War Machine and Horde stuff coming out. You've got a ton of Monster Apocalypse coming out. And then all the other things that we're doing. So
yeah, there's Warcaster.
I said Warcaster, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot happening this year. It's a very, very busy year for us, and we're definitely allocating the resources to the internal dynamic update style testing as we can, but I just don't want to make any promises and then not be able to keep them, because that's how you make people mad.
Yeah.
Speaking of promises and making people mad, the Convergence dynamic update should be this week. So hopefully, if all goes well, like Tony, you started changing it, and then you're like, let's just go back. If all goes well, in a perfect world where nothing ever goes wrong, it's tomorrow. But it should be this week. Hopefully no later than Friday. I know that we've got the OTC coming up. We've got the Ontario Team Championship coming up. Their list lock is on February 19th. I would really like this to be out before list lock for that event. And I think February 19th, I would be shocked if it didn't come out before then. Also, we've got people preparing for, Adepticon and other shows about to happen. So our goal is to have that update out this week. There'll be a big announcement, of course, when it occurs, and you would see War Room get updated, and there would be the rollout through the card database and everything else like that. This is the changes you all saw happen in the CID, but there's been some changes since the CID.
Yeah, there always are.
And I wanted, there's always small ones, but some of them can be really impactful. There's one I wanted to show, because I know he was a topic of conversation. That's Syntherion. So we're going to pop up Syntherion's rules real quick. And Syntherion versus CID, there's been one major change, and that is that we gave him Empower. This was a suggestion that came out of the CID that we did a lot of internal testing on, and we really, really liked it and what it does. First, it lets him do more stuff turn to turn. It lets you restart a broken induction chain. It gives you an answer to disruption, which there isn't any in Convergence. But again, it makes he's more spell slingy, right? Like he's getting his upkeeps and he's just kind of being a buff bot. But now, range 10 Empower, because he's command 10 and it's range command. Means you can get it where you need it, but his positioning still matters, right? So you actually have to think about where you're putting him turn to turn, and your opponent can kind of play back on that. And we found it just overall increased the enjoyment of games with and against Syntherion. And as a Convergence player, when your induction chain breaks, because you end up just not being able to do whatever, you accidentally kill something and you were hoping to spend a focus to be able to buy another attack, whatever happens, him being the caster that walks up and goes, restart the engine, is super, super good. So this is probably where you're going to see Syntherion end up. And we hope that people enjoy the addition of Empower and what it's all doing. The other things we wanted to talk to people about is specifically Helga 2, which don't bring her up yet, Tony. Helga 2 and Ashlynn 2, who we previewed, guys, it's been a month ago?
Something like that.
And people have been talking about it since. And one thing that's very important when we show these rules previews, and that's why we've added the big thing on the side, is that these rules are in testing, right? Things change. So Helga 2 has had some pretty significant changes recently. So let's go ahead and bring her rules up, and I'll go ahead and talk about what's changed on her. First off, her feat now casts Engine of Destruction for free as part of it. So the first line is she casts Engine of Destruction, and then you have the giant refuge style feat that works on everything. We increased her strength by 1, so the power of her spiked bat and her chain both went up by 1, but we also increased the POW of the bat by 1. So the bat's now base strength, POW strength 14. Whereas the chain went up from 11 to...
Went from 10 to 11.
I thought it was at 11.
It's 11 on there, I believe.
I'll have to double check. Yeah, it went up by 1.
I think it was 10 before.
It went up by 1. It went up by 1. And then we also added another spell. And we added a spell that I don't think a lot of people were expecting, but we found out it's really fun, it's really interesting, and it does some cool things in the way she can play. We gave her Rapport, which says that one war beast in her battle group can use her current mat and rat. She can Engine of Destruction up to 11. So you can have a Warhog with mat 11, and you also double the control range when checking to see if it's in your control range. So if you give it to a Roadhog instead, so possibly mat 11, rat 6 Roadhogs, it can just go flying out there, and now you're checking 24 inches for control range instead of 12 inches.
Or you could super flank with a Razor Boar.
You could
Razor Boar.
You could super flank with a Razor Boar. So I think the feat auto-casting Engine of Destruction and the increase of strength and POW lets her be a little bit more offensive. She's still not supposed to be like the butcher of hordes by any means.
But it does a lot of mobility too.
She has a lot of mobility, and it makes her personal threat just stronger. And then I think Rapport is something you may not cast every game, and I know that gives her a decent amount of upkeeps that she might want to have up, but like when you cast it and where you cast it is really strong. And again, just mat 11 war beasts they're pretty good. They're pretty dang good. Then if you throw Primal out there from your battle board, suddenly you can have these Mat 13 Warhogs.
Yeah.
Which just means you're basically casting this spell to say this heavy hits whatever the hell it wants to hit. Also, with the announcement on the inside of that, there's going to be a cross Trollblood minion theme force in the future. We haven't announced all the casters that are coming out, but say that Helga works for that. You can imagine what that's going to do, because it is going to be one of those theme forces that the first line is all models in this theme force are Trollblood and minion models, meaning they all count as the same faction.
Yeah.
You're going to see casters being able to use beasts from other factions and vice versa and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, another change we ended up making was Ashlynn 2. And she had a few significant little things. So first off, Ashlynn 2's Warjack points are currently at 22. I mentioned the first time she got announced that 28 was not right, and that was clearly changing.
Yeah, generally if you bring a bunch of other models with you, then that cuts into your Warjack points.
Yeah, and she brings a solid unit with her. She lost crit decap on her father's blade, which now has a name. Revanche, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah. But crit decap just got cut. It was not okay.
A little powerful.
Just turns out. So in our testing, we removed that. And then if we move on to the second member in her unit, so no other changes to Nebraska at this time, but if we go over to Marie, Marie had Granted Vengeance. And there was enough weirdness with that, because Granted Vengeance, if you kill him, it goes away. And so it is not necessarily intuitive that you get Vengeance the whole time.
Yeah.
We could have changed it to Tactics Vengeance, but it wasn't what we were wanting for. But we realized there was something kind of missing off this unit that we wanted, given their sort of high-def dualisty nature, and that was Riposte.
Yeah.
Which felt the same as the Vengeance in that you get to make an attack out of activation, but the extra 3 inches from Vengeance was also proving to be incredibly powerful with the threat that Ashlynn was bringing. So we ended up going with Granted Riposte on him instead, because that's amazing on Ashlynn too.
Yeah.
Your opponent can counterplay it by picking him off, but it does make, when you try to go in and finish her off, it's a very dangerous prospect because she's already very high def. She can get to ludicrous defs in melee.
Yep.
And you just have to be very careful whenever you try to take her on. Also, if you go after Marie herself and you end up missing, you might get tripped up by a Riposte with the weighted cloak and end up finding yourself knocked down, and all of a sudden your activation ends. So I see a couple. Chronic Gaming is asking, can Nebraska have his name sword changed to Reaver from the IKRPG? We know about that, and I just got to check with all the fluff and fiction people to make sure that in this current iteration that is still the name of his sword. Basically, there's continuity checks we have to do with everyone behind the story to make sure we're not doing something wrong. Because previously, when you first saw Ashlynn 2's version, her sword was just called Father's Sword. That's because we as dev only knew that she was wielding her father's sword. We didn't know the name of it.
Yeah, we had to look it up.
So we actually had to reach out to Matt and I can't remember if Aaron Rudell and Matt Getz were involved. I don't remember who all was involved.
Yeah.
But we reached out to those people that know the story better than we do, and they let us know. So that's the main stuff we wanted to cover today.
Yeah.
Was go through the LVO, show you those lists, and then give you a quick update on some of the stuff, and then let you know the Convergence CID dynamic update should be this week. So let's take a quick look at some questions in chat and see if there's anything we want to answer. I've been doing all the talking, Oz. Did you see any questions you want to answer?
That's because I'm trying not to sneeze.
Oh, that would be. Just take your mic and throw it off and then sneeze.
No.
All right, Tony, we won't do that. Someone asked for Fiora 4 spoilers. It's a bit early to give any more of those. We gave some on the Line of Sight podcast and on the Meta with Jay Larson, if I'm not mistaken. So she's still far enough out that I think she's a May release, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
She's like April, May, or June, so just a little bit further out.
So the Strange Bedfellows theme force will be in the dynamic update because the dynamic update incorporates all the stuff from the CID into the current game.
Yes.
And that includes theme forces that were introduced as part of the CID.
You will not see the rules for new models that aren't out yet as part of this dynamic update. So don't expect this dynamic update this week to have Nemo 4 or Asphyxius 4. Their rules will hit closer to when those models are actually in your hands. But Strange Bedfellows is a framework for all this new stuff coming out, so it is part of the dynamic update, and it'll be in War Room as soon as everything launches.
Yep.
Warcaster news, nothing we could say today. I will tell you that Warcaster news is dangerously close. You'll be hearing a lot very, very, very soon, but I am not at liberty to give any of those details out right now. There's a lot of really exciting stuff coming out, but I will tell you that Matt has his plan and wants everyone to receive it the same way and sort of understand everything the same way and have it come all at once. And so we don't want to give out any more like little piecemeal spoilers. So get ready. The info torrent is coming soon.
Coming. But we can't make any promises about exact times because
it's real.
It's all kind of happening, like being dialed in last minute about when we're going to say what.
Yeah, it's very, very soon. Daniel Ordway over on Facebook says, when are those Convergence models being released? Between now and the end of April. Basically, February, March, April, you're going to see most all the stuff that was done in the Convergence CID release. I believe Ashlynn 2 comes out in March. And then, of course, there's the RightQuest models coming out every single month, of which Helga is one of those.
Yeah. Quesitor wants to know when lock and load tickets are going on sale. We'll tell you as soon as that's live, but we're not going to promise when it's going to happen because, of course, if we did that, then we miss it by like hours or days.
Yeah.
But expect to hear when those tickets are on sale as soon as they are on sale. Yeah. And maybe even a little bit of a warning, but we're not going to promise anything right now.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Generally, no promises.
So a couple other ones I want to hit. Will the Hinge-Hold Scrolls climax in the Warcaster details? I don't believe that's the intent, but I do want to, if those of you who haven't been keeping up with the Twitter account, the Hinge-Hold Scrolls, it is daily new fiction, and it's been going on for a few weeks now. If you want your fiction fix, if you want your world building fix, and if you want your story of what's happening with the Infernal Invasion, go on Twitter and check out the Hinge-Hold Scrolls every day. This includes Saturday, Sunday. There's new mini fiction stories being produced, and there's been some major developments that have been happening.
We're also doing insiders that gather all of it together in chunks so you can read it on your screen and on your phone and see it all at one place.
I think that the actual account is just no spaces, Hinge Hold Scroll. That's on Twitter. Sabra asks, any IKRPG announcements? Not this time. Nothing that we are able to announce at this moment. I wish I had more to say. Oswald says, Hungerford, why did you kill Ashlynn? I didn't do anything. I'm just development.
Yeah, we don't drive the boat.
I pitch new model ideas and I write rules and we play test and refine them, but we don't kill people off.
Yep.
Unless it's Riot Quest, then I just kill whoever I want to because it doesn't matter. But in the main lore, like I didn't, spoilers, if you don't want to know anything, put your fingers in your ears. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I didn't kill Stryker. That wasn't my decision. Okay?
No.
And all the mess Ashlynn's got herself into with her queen being locked in a throne room and there's someone banging down the doors and they're about to die and the queen's about to commit suicide, I didn't do that. All right? So, don't you put that evil on me. Spoilers done. All right, let's see what other questions we have before we get out of here. Is Arcadius dead in Riot Quest? I think he's hanging out with the Paladins.
Yep.
And is Stryker dead in Riot Quest? I mean, we just talked about that, so yeah, he's dead.
Riot Quest is the worst version of the possible timelines that could happen because of the Infernals.
Or the best.
But Stryker's dead in the main timeline, and Riot Quest is just darker and more dead people.
I think it's more colorful. All right, let's get to a couple more questions before we get here. Saber says, is Circle getting tagged in dynamic at all? Well, not the next dynamic one. The next dynamic one is just Convergence.
Yeah.
I think Madrek 1 gets hit in this one, but that's only because Ricochet changed on the monitor, and his Ricochet changed as well to become only initial attacks. The next non-CID dynamic updates I want to do are going to be Legion and Signar based. So that doesn't mean that a few other odds and ends don't get thrown in. Like, for example, there's some stuff I want to do Pillar's Assault in Circle. But as for like a cohesive, like we're going to do a Wild Hunt based dynamic update, Circle is definitely behind Circle or Signar and Legion on that. And again, when those dynamic updates come up for those, whenever they do, I want to set the expectation. It will be like the Trollblood one, where we focused on Krill Company. Because that's kind of how we have to do things now with the size of the game and the other projects. Is we have to pick a subset and focus all our testing in on that, and then see how it ripples out to the rest of the faction and the game. So with Signar, it would probably be a theme force or two, and with Legion, it would be a theme force or two. Probably one for each faction that we would take a real holistic approach to fixing everything.
Yeah.
I think that's everything we want to hit.
Do you want to say if there's an Ogre model coming to RideQuest?
Yeah, there's an Ogre model coming to RideQuest as part of the Wintertime Wasteland set. Yeah. There's also an Infernal model coming to RideQuest as part of that set as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up. But we'll talk about more RideQuest on another dev chat. So join us next week for the next one. Is it Monpok or RideQuest, Tony? It's one of the two, and the only way to find out is to watch.
It kind of depends. We sometimes change that up last minute.
Yeah, we'll do what we want.
Yeah.
Till next time, everybody, take it easy. Goodbye. Oh, we did synchronized waving.
We did.
And
And then I star wiped it.